that much going on in terms of just sheer quantity. Of course, Rose attacking Cataclysm and then Paradise jumping in is something that we will be going over, but it's in terms of having like 80 separate events, thankfully that's not the case this time. So what do you want me to blab about for just a brief 2 minutes, if anything? Any fun topics to discuss? How's everyone doing? Everyone have a good Merry Christmas? Looking forward to a new year. I've spoken with a few people about that, and mostly what I hear, we're ready for the new year. What's better for protecting against EMPs, lead boxes or underground bunkers? Oh, what's the one? There's that one box through the cage or whatever that is supposed to protect your devices in the event of an EMP. And so yeah, Faraday cage. Freddy's cage, Friday's no. Um if yeah, Faraday cage. That's it. Yeah, those are always good choices if you have the ability to get one. Cheap wine and a pizza, Hatebi. Well, whatever works for you, I suppose. I tend to stay up. Does anyone else here do that? Are all you old people busy going to sleep? Huh. Stay up until 2 in the morning. Okay. Old person that also stays up and has to work late. Oh, that's unfortunate. All right, so we're gonna see if I can. Let's see here. YouTube. Like, this bot is one of the most frustrating to work with, but I think we'll get it to go. Let me just to scroll back from Thalmore's shows, all 18 million of there. Here we go. All right. We all ready? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Oh, they moved it. Dang it. Okay. All right. I see. Okay. I see nothing worth noting. So let's see. And here we go. Good evening, Gentlemen, and any ladies out in the audience. So, while I'm speaking to you tonight on the brief happenings that have been going on in the world of Orbis, I'm also going to be momentarily finagling with some channels, trying to get a couple extra stuff set up in this category to ensure a better quality of life for when we do the draft. So keep that in mind in the event I sound semi-distracted at any point. But we have the first bit of news, and really all of this goes together, all the lower level nano micro garbage. Camelot blitzed the elites and Western Republic at the time being a protectorate of the elites. For those of you unaware of why this happened, it was supposedly because the Western Republic stole like $2 billion from a Camelot protectorate. So that was utterly genius of them. I do not know how they stole it. I don't think, is Epi here? Let's check. Epi is not here the one night that we need him. So unless somebody else has input on that situation, I think we'll have to let it just be assumed as a mystery. So then what happened here after this? This is a fun story. I'll continue with the elites and whatnot. But oh, okay. I'm being told that it was a fake merger. So they it was the oh, is that the scenario? Oh, so this is back with Tabernac Ascendancy or whatever. Tabernac Ascendancy and Western Republic, I believe it was. And so two irrelevant groups. And so then uh the leader of Western Republic went ahead and kicked all the Tabernac Ascendancy members and stole the bank. So this has caused quite the drama overall, and I promise I will get to that here. But first, before that, we're going to go over briefly Midgard poking the Perpetuals. So this was nothing really like crazy, but it was, which alliances was it here? Let's see. Hive, Aurora, SRF, blitzed only 80 wars, but blitzed the Perpetuals, which is like, I think by that point, yeah. So Soldiers of Liberty had already left by that point. So it's like USSR, the Federation, and the elites at that point. And this is just more or less spying and raids and nothing really exciting, but it was just a fun little event that happened. And so now what's going on? Now the elites are exploding. I think this is hilarious. I think this is long deserved for it's karma coming back to the elites for stuff they've done in the past. And so what has happened is I pronounce it DC. I know Alan is in the chat and knows the man and pronounces it entirely differently. I guess what? You all come here to hear me butcher things just like Thalmor does, so we're going with it. The leader of the elites doesn't necessarily take, but quote unquote borrows or has routed to the elites $1.2 billion of the stolen money, and then chips in 800 million in terms of resources and all of that fantastic jazz to pay off Camelot. However, if I have the situation correct, this piece only really covered the elites. And so Western Republic continued getting hit. Oh, there's the culprit himself. He's in the audience. So he takes this and pays off Camelot. And so obviously this creates some tensions, yada, yada, yada. There was a big leak dump in OCN about this garbage the other day. I think it was yesterday. Um, I'm not going to pretend that I read all of it, but more or less, the government, yeah, OCN. Did I say something else? Or are you just asking what OCN is? Orbis Crowned News, run by the scum of the earth, also known as Zarya. So, um, yes, them. I'm still in there because they had to make a new server when the old one got wrecked, and they forgot to reban me and just never got around to doing it again. So I'll take what I can get. There's also other stuff that's been posted elsewhere, but it's really just drama. How did this? Oh, hold on. Somehow it glitched into ROM. Okay. OC. No, they're not dead, actually. They just have a number of, I would call it really newbie reporters. So they're like not good. They're not alive, but they're not dead. So this was actually hilarious here. The government organized a coup. Supposedly, is Napoleon here? He's not here, is he? No. He was supposedly there on behalf of TFP orchestrating a coup. It was crazy stuff, really. Um, so there are these screenshots about what Poseidon said, and he's ashamed at about people. It's I was dying of laughter watching this happen. He said that the elite's leader never stole any money. He said that he's never wronged anyone in the entire career he's had in politics and war. Alan, would you like to comment? Um, he said that the people he was pinging, which is like Ariana's Potato and somebody else who's just question marks, so I'm assuming they had some sort of name that's not showing up here, would have been nothing had he not given them money. He's more or less whining about them complaining about the elite's leader stealing money, which I found hilarious considering he himself has stolen at least like $10 billion plus. So, I mean, if you're going to complain, please don't be hypocritical. But yeah, so thieves are complaining about theft, which okay. And the Poseidon also said, as I said, the leader of the elites has never wronged anyone ever in this game. This is common knowledge that this is not the case, but if you want to believe that from scum, feel free. So overall, it's what we love to see in Orbis. It's called microdrama, and it's great. It's great stuff. So that gets through that. Anything else nano microdrama that I need to go over? I'm not picking sides on that argument. Como's completely in the wrong for stealing $2 billion and attempting to destroy an alliance. But it's the elites can't pretend that at one point it's multiple billions. Does it really matter at that point? So take the two, Como. Take the two, because if you take the two, it makes you look better. So, where was I? He's in the wrong for stealing the money. However, the elites cannot pretend that, oh, we stole it from the thieves, so that makes us Robin Hood. No, you're still stealing it. Still scum of the earth for doing that. you're just putting yourself on the same level or maybe a low level above. Anyways, that's my spiel on that topic. So the next thing we have, the next two things kind of tie in together. Militarization was going up for a while. Everyone was flipping their wigs, and then we found out why militarization was going up, and that's because there's a war. Rose hit Cataclysm, and then Paradise countered and jumped in on behalf of Cata. Um, I think it's funny that this happened immediately after Cata and Co. Rebuilt, because it's something that Clock would have done back in those days. But at the same time, I mean, it's like, well, it's just another war. It's not really anything crazy. Um, we'll see what comes of it. But there's really not much for me to say on this because both sides have been like FA silent. It's fairly obvious it's just a grudge match. So, I mean, like, may the most anger person win. It's just there's nothing else to come of that. So, anyone have anything in particular they want to say about that? Have anything they want me to comment on? I don't know. Do we have Thalmor in the audience yet? We do. Oh, we do. Thalmor, how long do we have you for? So I know. So I know we had you're in the wrong channel, bud, but you keep talking over there. 10 10 works for me, absolutely. That gives me an extra few minutes. Thalmor Radio, the place where Thalmor can talk to himself. When is the draft starting? In probably anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. I just have to pop up these channels really quickly. And let's see. Oops, wrong channel. There we go. So I might have to like on the fly come up with more of these, but for now, these two should be good. So no, you cannot talk. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second, Kev. You cannot talk in those channels. They're more or less just for me to spew stuff out. You will be voting. So you, my beautiful audience friends, you will get to vote on these spheres for a couple of categories. I'll go over these more in depth when I actually start this. But firepower, I think this is fairly self-explanatory. It's just the pure military power that the sphere potentially has. Synergy slash cohesion, so how well it's actually going to work together. Obviously, there's a lot of drama between certain alliances, and so you might not get a good mesh, which will be important. Activity. So are they going to be a floating menace or are they going to be active in declaring wars? Are they going to actively, do stuff, or are they just going to sit there and wait to be hit like a haunted mansion would? FA presence. There's nothing there yet, Fire. I have not put because nothing's started yet. So you won't see anything yet. FA presence, quiet or active? Is the sphere going to be like Rose and Friends, where they just sit there and stare at the wall until something happens? Or are they going to be out there actively doing things, making moves? It's similar to activity. Activity is just, I will get to all the wonderful questions in just a moment. Activity is just a bit more war style. FA presence is a bit more, do people know what's happening? Incompetence. So this is kind of the offset. Like, for instance, a TKR versus the Syndicate. Who are you going to put? My list of categories you're voting on? Yes. Well, here I'll put it categories for voting. And then we'll use these to kind of determine the overall best sphere from each draft. Because at the end of the night, I do want to have like a competition, or at least and a whatchamacallit, a comparison between top spheres from each draft to see, do we have like which one is the greatest. So I will get to, and for those of you asking about what was the question, who is drafting? The hope is I'm going to get through actually most everyone here. Anyone in the audience, you can volunteer, and I'm hoping to get through most of you, depending upon how many people leave mid-show, how late people can stay, etc. If need be, if we only have like 10 people, 15 people left, I'll do any final comparisons as like a multi-day poll. But in terms of like tonight, who's drafting, so long as you're here, I hope to be able to get to you. Now, if I do another ping in 6 minutes to let people know that we're doing this fantasy football draft thing, and another 30 people show up, even another like 20, we're going to be stretched thin in terms of time. But I'm hoping to get through as many people as want to do it. So I hope that makes sense. I'm just finishing up typing these categories in for the sphere voting. They will be pinned in there. Apologies to anyone watching the recording here. You get to watch some very boring typing for the moment, but it's all for a good cause. There you go. And end. So let's see here. Yes, who is drafting? So again, as I just said, I'm hoping to get through everybody. However, the first round will be Thalmor, Chad, and I just running through this. Who else? So Kev, your old question: what do you predict Cata and or Paradise does after the Rose War? I am stumped. I will be honest here, because Rose is not likely to. I mean, I can't see of anyone that's really going to be like jumping in with them in terms of another sphere buddy. And yet they're not likely to just sit there on their own. So I don't know where Rose is going to go unless they just sit there on their own, but that it makes them too vulnerable in my opinion for like their own liking. So I don't see that as likely. Cataclysm and Paradise, I genuinely don't know. Maybe to TKR? Going to Midgard wouldn't make sense at the moment. That or they stay on their own and do their own thing. But going to Midgard would make no sense. They just had a war. Obviously, after all the drama, you're not going to be going to Fortuna or whatever the hell it is. That knocks 2 off the list. Rose is an obvious one. That's 3. It's possible, but I don't see doing anything with TFP and the Odd Bunch as likely either. So that would make 4. So in my mind, you either end up back and with like, I guess, similar-esque alliances, and you go to Hog, or you end up with TKR. In terms of joining a sphere, you might remain paperless, or you might sit there and do your well, quote unquote paperless, or you remain as like your 2 little floating buddies, or you tie, like, again, I don't see this part as likely, or you tie like the Legion or Bourbon Street and Global Alliance and Treaty Organization. But again, I don't think that's a likely option there. So I personally, I see TKR as being the most likely. Yes, I'm gonna ask when we put live, but I probably will take you up on that, Kev, just because 4 is much easier than 3. So I think TKR is the most likely place to go. They're similarly competent in terms of military, and they're a little light in terms of other like major powerhouse alliances. Usually they have another, like, not that Carthago and Black Knights are both macros, obviously, but they usually have like another larger name with them. Like, for instance, like a House Stark, if they don't have like a, for instance, if they don't have themselves tied with like the Fighting Pacifists or another top 15, they usually have 3 or 4 Carthagos or Black Knights level alliances around them. And so I do think, particularly considering how, I don't know, what's the tiering? I'm gonna look. I did actually, so everyone knows, full disclosure, I have a copy of DNN's tiering sheet. I'm gonna be using that for making tiers. Full disclosure, they've gotten their credit. So like TKR sphere right now, I guess they are fairly on par with groups like Fortuna and Rose Sphere, but they're not, like, they're lagging behind Midgard and even the Odd Bunch in lower categories. Well, that'd be weird. So I guess tiering wise, it doesn't look like it on the treaty web, but tiering wise, Catasphere plus TKR sphere would be really like a dominant threat, wouldn't they? It would more or less be another Hollywood. It's crazy. Everyone lags behind the Odd Bunch in lower tier. Yeah, I know. Odd Bunch is the lower tier. Yeah, even if you look at like non-aligned, even if you include groups like the Perpetuals and the Backrooms, Odd Bunch could definitely 1v1 them. Because I find that hilarious. So, okay. Anything else? Final call. Politics and war. Is that it? Are we done? The last, speak now or forever hold your peace. There was no glitch in the matrix. You were imagining it. Okay. So, with all of that taken care of, let's see here. I'm actually going to go ahead and end the recording for the show.